A couple things went out for AEW. Adam Copeland announced on his social media he has a broken tibia. He already has crutches. He put over Black and that. Oof. I don't know if he admitted publicly, but going from the top like he did and doing that, he hit this standing elbow. I don't know what he was going for. And unfortunately, it didn't go well, and now he's got a broken leg. And I know a lot of people are bummed about that. I saw Mike Johnson's report about that from PW Insider, and understandably so. I have nothing but good things to say about Adam Copeland. He picked his spots when it came to doing things in WWE, and I understood that from a guy of a legendary status. He had a lot of say in the things he did. But I got to do a couple cool things with him. He did some stuff. He made appearances when he was hurt and stuff like that for us on the bump. And I actually got to do this really specific things for Xfinity where it was just me and him. And only Xfinity subscribers got to talk to him. So I got to do kind of just like a weird, not weird, but very specific retrospective on Edge's career. We talked about working with Eddie Guerrero and, how that really started to move him to the main event and stuff with Kurt, but always willing to lend an ear, to listen. Him and I bonded over sneakers, which I guess I judged him incorrectly because I saw him wearing a couple of rare pairs of Jordans, and obviously it's kind of my thing. They're all over the place. And I remember I went up to him at Rumble in St. Louis, that mess of a Rumble that Brock won. And he was doing the mixed tag with Beth against Miz and Maurice, which was really well done. And I was like, dude, I didn't know you were a sneakerhead. He's like, I always wanted them growing up, and then we just couldn't afford them. And I always kind of said, when I can afford them, I'm going to get them. And he did. And that's why you started seeing the sneakers pop up on TV. And I was like, are you getting advice? He's like, no, I just like them. So we bond. I liked talking sneakers with Edge, not something I would have expected, but super nice dude. Anytime you saw him, hey, how's it going? Wouldn't have thought that he was the legend that he was with the way he acted. Never above anybody. Always happy to say hello. And I know he was happy and rejuvenated. I sent him a message a couple weeks after he had debuted, and he just said he was having so much fun over there. And it's a bummer that he got banged up because I think he was a good voice to have, not only as part of their television program, but in the locker room as well. So, we'll see. I know he likes his family time with his daughters. He mentioned Ruby's birthday is coming up on Friday. I hope he gets some time to rest and recover because I think we all know there's more to be done. And I'll say what all of us want to see. Edge and Christian need to have more tag matches. I want them back on the same side. There are matches against the Young Bucks. There are matches against FTR. There's probably some other matches I'm not even thinking of right now that they could have that I think a lot of people want to see. And there's a long story to tell with that. That's another thing. I don't want that rushed. And I don't think they would have rushed it because you got to go from Christian being the heel, the best heel in AEW right now, to at some point, that Edge and Christian run's a babyface run, as it should be. I hope there's still a chance to have that run. Throw the Lucha Bros in there as well. Good call by Derek. And then there was a report. I want to pull this up correctly so I don't misquote anybody. Sorry if I have to look off camera. I have to type this back in. But there is a report about what's going on with Warner Brothers and AEW in terms of a TV deal. So there was a report last night. I'm going to read this so I don't get this wrong. From a Hollywood insider, Matt Baloney. It's called the Puck Report. And this is from what I've read, someone who has certainly been in the know with news and things like that. Said his sources indicated that Tony Khan was disappointed with the Warner Brothers' first offer and that the exclusive negotiating window between both sides was coming up in July. Also reported that David Zaslav, who is the head of Warner Brothers, and TNT Sports head Louis Silberwasser wanted to keep all three AEW shows, as they should. They should absolutely want to keep those shows. I would love more people to be in the buildings. But if you look at where AEW ranks on cable television, they are a big win for Warner Brothers. And there's going to be people that don't want to hear that. But the numbers are, sure, the ratings have slipped. And there's improvements to be made. I have, without a doubt, addressed that many times in the last week. However, the show is still performing very well on television. And for what it costs compared to other programming, it is cheap. And it is performing well for Warner. And if they are losing the NBA, and it sounds like they are, I think AEW becomes more valuable to Warner. And they should want to have those shows. I think putting, matching a meal with Renee and RJ on their TBS YouTube was a good sign. They certainly can have some say in the shows. I know whether it be Fox or USA, they've had some suggestions and say over WWE in the past. I get that. Hell, Saudi certainly does. And, I just go back to that Greatest Royal Rumble. We'd like Yokozuna. Well, we can't do that for you, but we give you this guy who kind of looks like him. That kind of stuff. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. When Tony goes, we got an overrun tonight, that's them saying we want you to be on longer than your slot. That's a good sign. I am encouraged to hear that. So I would hope that they figure this out. Now, since then, there has been a report, according to Dave Meltzer. I'll read this straight from The Observer, straight from their website, that according to Dave Meltzer, AEW sources have told him that the first offer was not disappointing to Tony Khan, but the two sides have yet to reach any deal. Negotiations for both TV and streaming are ongoing with WBD and not TNT Sports. Should note that Matt Belloni, maybe it is Belloni to some people, is longtime friends with Nick Khan. Khan's been on his podcast before. You can read into that as you will. But, Nick Khan has dealt with a lot of people. He's represented a lot of people. And those people like to take care of Nick as well. And that is the WW machine at work. And that is the nature and reality of the business. So you know what? Those are the times when I get that Tony Khan fights back. I think he should. When you battle the machine, you got to fight back sometimes. Good point by Tom. There's a reason why Rampage is just moved to another night after a regular show instead of being canceled on basketball nights. Yes, they still want it to be aired. They still know, and this doesn't get brought up enough in all the rating stuff. It's not, live TV programming is extremely valuable. Why sports is so valuable. Absolutely it is. It's as close to as DVR proof as it gets. But for the most part, hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs, baseball playoffs, you watch that live. You would like to watch wrestling live, but there's so much of it. Now, I know a lot of people. I do it sometimes. It's a lot. We have lives. I understand if you watch the show a half hour after it starts, the next day. People have lives. They have jobs. They have kids, wives, husbands, things to do. Those numbers absolutely matter. It's why it does stream on the TBS app and the TNT app, and you can catch it the next day. Those numbers matter too. I don't feel like we hear a lot about those numbers. I know WrestleNomics does their thing. That is valuable as well. There are still ads to be put in those things. Oh, what an interesting DM I just got. But I can't share it because sometimes I just can't.